Hello and welcome to Learn It Yourself. I'm sure that everyone is enjoying their holidays. I'm here today to teach about the degrees of adjectives, the absolute degree, the comparative and the superlative degree. We'll be also discussing about the double comparative, and towards the end of the session, we'll be learning about a few rules that are to be used with the degrees of adjectives. So let's begin.
I want a big balloon.
Big is absolute degree.
Most of us are familiar with the word degree. You can say the temperature outside is 25 degrees Celsius. You might have also heard people talk about their educational qualifications. They may say, I have a degree in psychology. Now, what do you mean by degree of adjectives? Degree of adjectives refer to the forms of adjectives that are used in different situations. Let us start with the absolute degree of the adjectives. Some examples of adjectives are clean, beautiful, sloppy, etc. When I use these adjectives in the same way as it is without adding any endings, we say these adjectives are in their absolute degree. We can also refer it to as the positive degree. If I say, her room is clean, here I am referring to the room, which is the noun, and describing her room as clean. So clean is the absolute adjective. And in this sentence, I am just stating a fact that her room is clean. I am not comparing the girl's room to anybody else's room. So here, since there is no comparison used, we are going to say that the adjective clean is in the absolute form. Similarly, he is a brave kid. Again, we are not comparing this kid to any other kid. And brave is the adjective in the absolute form. In the animation, we just saw that the boy saying, I want a big balloon. Here, big is the adjective in the absolute degree describing the noun balloon.
I want a bigger balloon than him.
Bigger is comparative degree.
Let's talk about the comparative degree of adjectives. These adjectives have the endings of er, ier, and sometimes certain adjectives have an addition of more. So when do we use comparative degree of adjectives? We use them when we are comparing two cases. If I say, Sam is braver than his brother. Here, Sam is the first case and his brother is the second case. And we're using the adjective braver. The absolute form of the adjective braver is brave. We are adding the ending er to form the comparative degree because this sentence is a comparison. In the animation, we have the child say, I want a bigger balloon than him. Here again, bigger is used because the boy is comparing another boy's balloon to the balloon which he wants to buy, which should be bigger. Therefore, bigger is in the comparative form. Some other examples of adjectives are cleaner, more beautiful, and sloppier. All these adjectives are in the comparative form and they've got different endings.
This is the biggest balloon in the shop. Biggest is superlative degree.
Superlative degree of adjectives. These adjectives have got the endings of est, iest, and some adjectives may have an addition of another adjective which is most. We use superlative degree of adjectives when we are comparing more than two cases. If I say, he is the bravest kid in his family, I'm comparing this kid with all the other kids in the family, and therefore I use the adjective bravest to describe the kid. Bravest is in the superlative form. The mother says, this is the biggest balloon in the shop. She compares the balloon with all the other balloons and therefore she uses the adjective in the superlative degree, which is biggest with the ending est. Some other examples of adjectives are cleanest. We are adding est as the ending to form the superlative degree. Most beautiful and sloppiest.
The bigger the balloon, the happier I am.
Double comparative is used.
The double comparative. The double comparative is used in those sentences which has got a cause and effect relationship. The adjectives used in these sentences would be in the comparative form. If I say, the quieter the house, the sleepier I am. Here, quieter is the cause and sleepier is the effect. And these adjectives are in the comparative degree. Therefore, this sentence has got a cause and effect relationship which expresses a double comparative. Here the boy says, the bigger the balloon, the happier I am. Here again the boy says that he would be happier if the balloon is bigger. It's again a cause and effect relationship. The formation of degrees of adjectives. Before that, we need to know what syllables are. Syllables are nothing but the vowel sounds that are heard while saying a word. The vowels in the English language are A, E, I, O, U. The rest of the letters are known as consonants. They are B, C, D, F, etc. Let's take a look at some of the adjectives to understand more clearly. If you have an adjective ending in a consonant and has got only a single syllable, example, kind. Here, when you say the word kind, you can hear the vowel I. Therefore, it's got only a single syllable. To form the comparative, we just add ER, forming kinder. The superlative degree would be by adding EST. It would be kindest. Another adjective with the ending E with a single syllable, example, noble. Here, to form the comparative degree, we just add R, forming nobler. The superlative degree would be noblest. We are adding EST to the ending. Another case is adjectives ending in Y. Example, wealthy. To form the comparative degree, we add IER. We omit the consonant Y. It would be wealthier with the ending IER. And the superlative degree would be wealthiest. The ending would be IEST. Now another case of adjectives when the adjective is really short. We've got a short syllable. For example, red. Here it's ending in a consonant. The consonant is D and it's got only a single syllable. It's very short. Therefore, the comparative degree would be formed by doubling the consonant, which is R-E-D-D-E-R, redder. There's a double D. And the superlative degree is formed as reddest. The ending would be EST. Now, what do you do when you have more than two syllables? An example of such an adjective is courageous. If you split up the syllables, you find that there are around 4 syllables. And to form the comparative degree, we add more to it. It would be more courageous. And the superlative degree would be most courageous. Now, there are some other exceptions of adjectives which do not fall into any of these categories. They have their own formations. Example of such an irregular formation would be the adjective far. The comparative degree is farther and the superlative degree would be far. Lastly, I would like to discuss about some rules that are to be followed while using the degrees of adjectives. The first rule which I would like to discuss is about the usage of more and less. You cannot use more and less with already comparative degree of adjectives. For example, you cannot say, my room is more cleaner than his room. No, more cannot be used. You can say, my room is cleaner than his room. That is correct. You can use some other quantitative adjectives other than more and less. You can say, my room is much cleaner than his room. That is a correct expression. You can use more in cases when there are comparisons between two different adjectives in the same sentence. For example, she is more smarter than intelligent. Here more is being used as we are comparing the two different adjectives, which is smart and intelligent. The next rule is about using than and to. Not all adjectives can use than while comparing. Instead, you have to use to. You cannot say, he is elder than me. No, than cannot be used. Instead, you can say, he is elder to me. And the last rule is about comparisons which happen within a group and when the comparison happens outside the group. Example of such a sentence would be, Harry is the most intelligent than any other member of his team. Here, the boy Harry is being compared to the members of his own team, and therefore we use the expression than any other. When Harry is being compared to the other members outside the team, you should use any. So the sentence would be, Harry is the most intelligent than any members of the other team. Summary. Absolute degree of adjectives. This is used when there is no comparison. She has got long hair. Here we are not comparing the hair of this girl to anyone else, and therefore long is the absolute degree describing the noun hair. I bought an expensive watch. Here expensive is the absolute degree describing the noun watch. That's a good idea. Here again good is the absolute degree describing the noun idea. Comparative degree. As the name suggests, it is used when we compare two cases. She has got longer hair than her. We are comparing the hair of this girl to another girl and we are saying that it is longer. And therefore longer is the comparative degree describing the noun hair. My watch is more expensive than his. I am comparing my watch to another person's watch, and therefore more expensive is the comparative degree of the adjective expensive. This is a better idea. Here better is the comparative degree used to describe the noun idea. Here better is the comparative degree of the adjective good. Now we move on to the superlative degree. This is used when we are comparing more than two cases. She has got the longest hair in her class. Here we are comparing the hair of the girl to the rest of the students in her class. And therefore longest with the ending ESD is the superlative degree of the adjective long. The most expensive watch I have ever owned. I'm comparing my watch with my previous older watches, and therefore we use the superlative degree most expensive. The best idea ever. Here again best is the superlative degree used to describe the idea now. Here let us take a look at some of the adjectives that were used earlier. Here we have the absolute form of the adjective good, the comparative form of the adjective good is better, and the superlative degree is best. The next adjective we have is long. The absolute is long, the comparative degree is longer, and the superlative degree is longest. Expensive is the absolute degree, and in the comparative degree it is written as more expensive. The superlative is most expensive. Here are some rules that are to be followed. Drinking tea is more better than coffee. We do not use more before the comparative degree of the adjective good, which is better. Instead, you can say drinking tea is much better than coffee, or you can use some other adjectives such as slightly, a little, etc. This shawl is more soft than silky. You can use more when you're comparing two different adjectives, that is soft and silky. Here this expression is right. He is elder than him. We do not say than. We use to. You can say he is elder to him. Certain adjectives do not use the word than. Instead, you have to use to. The manager is superior to the clerk. Here, we're using to instead of than. This wall is brighter than any other wall in the house. We use any other wall because we are comparing the particular wall to the other walls in the same house. We use any in this case. The African elephant is bigger than any elephant. We are using any because we are comparing the elephant in Africa to another elephant in Asia, which is a separate continent. Double comparative. This is used when we need to express a cause and effect relationship. The more the crowd, the less the space. Here, the first half of the sentence, we have more, the adjective being used, and less is used in the second half. Or you can say, the less the crowd, the more the space. Here we're using less in the beginning, and in the second half we're using more. Another example, the more work I do, the more tired I get. Here, in both the halves of the sentences, we are using more. The less work I do, the less tired I get. Here, less is being used in both the halves of the sentences. The lighter the bag, the easier to carry. Here, you can shorten the sentence and sometimes you can say, the lighter, the easier.